Two.
It's not Michael.
Okay. Welcome. Happy Friday. How y'all doing?
Hey.
If you join us,
That vibrato.
Okay, might be a little bit of singing today. If you join us, please let us know in the chat. Let us know that we're not talking to us here. Welcome. This is Stay Mentally Dope.
Yep.
We hope you're staying mentally dope. If you saw the title, you know what we're doing today. The classic.
I'm so excited.
The best. The good one. Coming to America.
Yes. Coming to America is like literally one of my favorite movies. Absolutely love this movie.
Yes. And we will be your queens to be as we walk you through.
I was going to follow you too. I was going with you.
You was going to let me know.
Okay.
As we walk you through this journey of discovery. You know what?
I
just learned.
I be feeling like the queen when I walk through. Sorry, go ahead.
I did not know Angie Stone sung Girlfriends. The
yes.
thing. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Somebody was playing her stuff and I was like, that was her?
Yeah.
It hurt my heart.
Another queen.
R.I.P. girl.
Yes.
Her funeral was today?
Yeah.
R.I.P. girl. We think about you and your family. Okay.
So y'all, we're talking about coming to America. And I mean, in true honor, I had to wear my Soul Glow t-shirt because it's time to let your soul glow.
You gonna sing it?
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul. Okay, sorry.
You could have reached a little higher. But it's worth a rewatch. Watch it over and over again. It still holds up. I loved it.
Yeah.
And you know me, guys. I was doing things in the 90s, okay? I came out the womb in 90. This movie came out in 88. Don't do that. Which means I was an ovary when it came out. I was in an ovary.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't watch it in theaters, obviously.
Clearly.
And my family was not the kind to sit us down and watch all the old classics necessarily. So I don't think I've ever watched the movie all the way through. Just like, catching on BT and all this stuff. But I never have.
So this time was your first time watching it from the beginning to the end?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end I was like, whoa, let's go. And then it was just over. So I was a little sad about that.
It actually was a long movie.
No, it is. But I thought we were going to get more guess who's coming to dinner situation of like, we're going to go to dinner with the parents.
Like, after.
Not after, but like courting. Like them like kind of dating.
They already
the parents
courted.
And being. The court was that one time at the house. That was a court. And the next day
but I wanted
like
them
the
like to be loved.
Dinner. I want the parents to go to dinner and be like, and
daddy
McDowell's be like, I'm catering. I'm gonna get you some stuff, and they're like, ooh, gross. We have whatever they have for dinner.
He didn't care. That man did not care. She was marrying a prince. He got his own money. So yeah, y'all. Not only are we talking about this classic movie Coming to America, we're talking about one of the highlights of the movie, other than it being hilarious and having like so many like memorable lines that we'll definitely get to. But we're talking about family expectations. What it looks like to be in a family that has legacy, that has expectations, that has cultural expectations, all of these things that are expected of you. And then what does it look like when you go against the grain? Or do you just like go with the grain? Is that how it goes? Like go with the grain?
Yeah, that's what it's called. But to keep it a stack, this is what it's like to have Black parents. This is what it's like to have immigrant parents. This is what it's like if you have parents that come from like a poor background. I feel like a lot of this stuff shows up.
But I think this is like, to be honest, like I think this is like not even just Black people. This is white people too. Like that your family like requires you to be this way. Like this is my life. But whether it's not going to the same college that I went to, whether or not it's like, choosing like the same degree program that I went to. Like if we are doctors, we are doctors. Like you can't be the one who's gonna be like, I'm gonna be a baker. Like you're going against the family. with the family. Like, yeah.
I mean, I agree to a certain extent. I would just say maybe it's different for different people. Like I feel like white families have different expectations for their families versus Black and brown folks have different expectations. It just looks different.
Yeah, I think so. I would say that I think that they're really, really similar, but it does look different in the sense of like cultural expectations as well too. And so like we see in this particular movie, we have Akeem, who is the Prince of Zamunda. I always wonder, was Zamunda a real place? But you had Prince Akeem.
Not a real place.
I mean, it's kind of like Wakanda. You just want to know.
But we'll get to that in the questions that need answers. You know, we got questions, so that'll be.
But you had Akeem, who was the Prince of Zamunda. So like there was one cultural expectation from his parents to, I mean, this man did pretty much nothing for himself. Like the movie begins.
He got himself out of bed. That's what he did.
No, not technically. They woke him up.
Yeah, but he used his body to get out of bed. That's
okay.
It. That's it.
Yes, but like
put one foot in front of the other.
The movie like starts with like Ohan or Oha. His guy coming in to like wake him up and like tells him it's his birthday. I mean, like they're putting the slippers on his feet, they're brushing his teeth, they're gargling his throat for him. They bathe him, which I'm be honest, if you ever like watch this on like BET or like Fox Family, they don't show that scene.
Well, no, it was rated R just because of that scene. I feel like
there's
nothing else that's rated R. It's just the women are topless.
But yeah, so like they're bathing him, they're gargling. Like the fact that he said that someone wipes his butt for him when he uses the bathroom, I was just like, that's a bit much. But I guess like this whole thing
that ain't never gonna be okay with me, because how you know how it feel to me? Like how you know it's really clean? I know that because I can feel it. You can't feel it anyway. It's another thing.
He said that when the wipe is clean, he thinks he's done. I have no idea. That's a whole different subject. He cannot walk unless there's like rose petals. Like he has never tied his own shoe before. Like there's just so many things that at some point,
I don't think he's ever left the palace. It kind of made it seem like he's just not even left.
Possibly. Reminds me of like Princess Jasmine, that she had never left the palace walls in Aladdin.
And then she stuck out and found homeboy.
Yeah. And
anyway, continue.
Lottie.
So yes, everything he wanted and needed was there for him, and he couldn't. Or some people would say he didn't have to do anything. But I think from his view, he was like, I can't do anything for myself.
Yeah, but I think that like that's the way that his parents looked at it. Is like this was a privilege. Not only was it tradition, but this was a privilege. Like his father said, you are the son of a king. You walk on rose petals. Someone's always going to be in front of you with rose petals. And if you move fast, they're going to move fast because that's their job. Rose bearer. Like that was their thing. They also had like weird traditions, or weird to me. I don't want to judge, but like weird if like they said
these aren't real people, just so you know.
I mean, but that could actually be someone's cultural tradition.
I was just
to sit at a table with like 70 seats, and like you sit on the head here and I sit on the head here, and we use an intercom to talk because you can't get up and come talk to me.
And they're like, he's getting up.
Yeah. And then like I had the question, and like maybe this is a question that needs answers, but like when he went down to talk to his parents, his dad said, you've grown a mustache. And his mom said, it's been a year. Has it been a year since I've been like this close to your face? I don't know.
I don't think that's what they're trying to say.
But so it was like his life was like really, really routine. There were certain things I felt like he had gotten used to, certain things that he didn't always like, but he felt like, hey, like, no, this is my life. This is how it goes.
I mean, he didn't really have a choice.
Yeah. But until his parents told him, on your 21st birthday, you're gonna be in an arranged marriage, and he's like, that's not really what I want. And you also seen like not only his parents, but even his best friend was like, I don't get it. Like, why would you not? They're gonna find you the best person in the whole like city, country, wherever they're at.
Zamunda.
Yeah,
the whole Zamunda.
The whole Zamunda. They probably went farther than that, but to find you the best person. This person is being raised to your liking. She's going to be beautiful. She's going to do whatever you like. Like, why aren't you happy? And he's like, I'm not stimulated. I'm not mentally stimulated. And I need someone to actually like mentally stimulate.
I mean, it's more than the stimulation. Like, he just had no autonomy over his life. He couldn't make decisions. He couldn't choose for himself. You have to be with someone for the rest of your life. You should get the choice of if you like them or not, right? Like, that feels important. But at least for him, it was.
Yeah, but even to like him tell his parents were like, we grow to like each other. And I thought that's why it's like that happens in a lot of different cultures, like especially ones that have arranged marriages. They'll happen. Yeah. They're like, you're grow to at least like don't tolerate them, or you won't. But you're doing this for the greater good of like sustainability, like whatever.
Yeah. But even for a lot of arranged marriages, they have like a meeting time where people get to see like, is this going to be a good fit? Are we going to like them? It may not be long and extensive dating like we do here culturally, but it's usually like, what's the connection here, right? It may be to build a connection. It may not necessarily be to see if there's a connection because it's going to happen anyway. But they didn't even have that. Like the day
So I
he
guess
was meeting this person was the
yeah.
day he was marrying this
But I
person.
guess that they were saying that that didn't need to happen because this person was groomed to him. So which to me is also like very, very sexist, but this person was groomed to him. He knew nothing about her, but she knew everything about him. Kinda, because to me that kind of sort of bothered me. Now it'd been different if he would have said, what's your favorite food? And she would have named his. He'll be like, yeah, me too. But she said, whatever you like. Like, no, I need you to like actually like no. Like not like no, what do I like? But okay, fine. Whatever you like.
Anyway, so we could tell he was going through a little bit. Like that is the reason why he was like, halt, done. We're not getting married and I got to do something. And so if we can talk about the conversation between him and his father during the wedding, the meeting, whatever, the issue was, you can tell his parents really wanted him to be happy, but his parents also weren't listening to him.
No.
And I think that was the hard part. He was like, hey, you want me to be happy. This is what I need to be happy. And his parents were like, oh, you need to go sell your royal oats. Go do that. And he was like, that's not what I'm saying, but whatever. I'll go if you need me to go because you're not listening to me. And so like they were missing each other.
Yeah, he had his own agenda, but he knew he wasn't being listened to. And that's kind of like what the dad said, that his dad was like, okay, where you're going to go have sex with people in America. Best of luck, son. Go off and have fun.
Well, he said, I already sleep with my bathers. Like I assumed you did too, which also tells me y'all ain't talking about nothing. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a big house. Everybody's separate.
Probably even him and the wife.
Yes. So I think, for this, it's a movie, but for some people, like parents having really strict and rigid expectations really can affect somebody's mental health in the way that they just interact with life in the world. Like it's very stressful to have parents. And I feel like you probably have the same experience. When I see a lot of teens, and that could be like adult teens, 19, whatever.
I actually meant teeny as in size. And I was like, girl, what you talking about?
I don't know why I say that. But like teen-ish people, when I see them, a lot of times the stuff that we're talking about are like, my parent really wants this and we're conflicting. Like we're clashing about this because this is their value and this is not necessarily my value. Or this is not my generation's value. Yeah. And that doesn't go together.
Yeah. And something that I tell parents a lot of times is that even when there's like not like actual verbal, like this is my expectation of you, sometimes kids can still sense that based on perception. If I say
definitely can. What are we talking about? Kids learn from seeing more than they learn from you telling them what to do.
Yes.
So what you give your attention to is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Which I know that's what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's like the idea that if I say that I want to play soccer and you're like, that's cool. But if I say I want to play football and you're like, oh, I'm going to all the games. I'm going to gravitate towards the one that is going to, because like, yeah, that affects my mental health when I constantly see that you're not as enthused, you don't really care as much, like, or the things that I do, like certain things get more attention than other things. And then it becomes an expectation of like, this is what I have to do in order to gain like your love and attention sometimes.
Yeah. And we talk about attachment here a lot. So if you want to learn more about attachment, we're not going deep in that today, but like we are wired for attention and connection, right? And so if your parent is saying, I will only give you attention and connection if you do these things, these specific things and nothing else, you're going to do them, right? Whether you want to or not, whatever is a whole different thing, but you're going to do them because that's what we're wired for, right? We need to be attached to the people who care for us. We want them to even look at us and like be proud of us and want all these good things for us. And some people, some parents, that's conditional, I guess.
Yeah. Or I think that even if they don't realize how conditional it is.
When it's not always intentional. I think mostly it's not necessarily intentional.
Yeah. Because I think that you see that when sometimes of like even like career choices of like things that people choose or like businesses that people go into because like the family will be like, oh, you want to do that? Okay.
Black people good about that too. Let you tell a Black person an idea and it's out of the box or something that's not the norm. They'll be like, you want to do what? Oh, okay. Couldn't be me.
That don't even sound like that's safe. Like who you gonna be working with? Like
okay.
Yes. So like those things, and now you have someone who may choose to do the opposite, or you have someone who may be like, okay, well, I'm gonna gravitate towards what I think is gonna feel emotionally safe or secure.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in school, and now I'm picking a degree, not because based on what I want or what I think that I would like. It's based on what I think is acceptable. And then we see like how that affects mental health, because you're not actually doing things that you enjoy. You're doing things for acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we see this a lot in like careers, the careers that people choose, the things people do for work. I know this is a big
The
thing.
spouses that people choose.
I mean, it really affects everything,
Mhm.
truly. But you know how people always talk about George Bush, the young Bush, of like, he is like a wonderful artist. Like, he makes crazy art, but then he was also the president of the United States. Everybody's like, you really just need to let kids do what they want to do and what they're talented to do. Like, no shade, whatever. Maybe I'll shade, I don't know. But like, I feel like that happens to a lot of people. Like, people have talents or gifted with certain things or passionate about certain things, but because of the family that they come up in, they choose a totally different path because that's what they were molded to be, and then they're not happy.
Yeah, either I said to you, either molded or like fears. Yeah. So like if it's a another movie that we love, this Chris. Oh, Sister Act.
Sister Act. Yeah, there we go. Aunties.
Singing
okay.
does not put foot on the table. Singing.
Your daddy used to sing and he ran off, and you can't do it. Yeah.
But that too, how sometimes our trauma will affect those things.
Our parents' trauma.
Yes, our parents' trauma will affect. We think is going to, and yeah, that can go down,
and on and on. Because I'm sure you have your own personal examples of your life of like, what your parents went through and them telling you stories when you were a kid of just like, I was a kid, I did this, and I don't want you to go down this path. One thing his father said to him of just like, me and your mom don't want you, or no, it wasn't him, it was McDowell's. It was Cleo.
Yeah.
He was like, I just don't want you to have to struggle like me and your mom did.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of people's parents' motivation, which is good, but it's also like very constricting. Yes, it like chokes some things out, and we got to have some kind of wiggle room in there.
And that's what I was gonna say too, that I noticed that like, so you have Akeem on this end, which is like, all these cultural expectations, all this like, legacy stuff within the family, and then you have Lisa on the other end, whose mother is deceased and who was like just with her father. Her father's special. I'm just going to say, Mr. McDowell. Mr. McDowell is making
talking about Cleo. What Cleo do?
Cleo McDowell is making a whole life and a whole fortune off of a stolen idea of McDonald's. He's literally making.
It's working, ain't it?
He's literally making a replica.
He got money, don't he? What's the problem?
He's making a replica of McDonald's, but that's okay. Whatever, fine. But his expectations for Lisa is, I don't want you to have to struggle. So he was literally willing to pawn his daughter off on someone who was crappy just because he had money.
Yeah, but that wasn't his view of it. I'm going to take one for Leo, or Cleo. I want to call him Leo. I'm going to take one for Cleo. In his mind, he wasn't crappy because the things that were important to him, and I feel like the things, we talking about the older generation? We talking about the generation that just almost touched slavery. To them is safety, security, and money.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. The rest you can figure out.
Yeah, but see, I feel like, well, I guess like that is that too. Like that's the hard part. Like maybe he doesn't have to be a hard worker because he has money. But I feel like that for some like older men, especially like older black men, they like he can't do nothing else for you. Like what happens if his money leaves? This man is not a hard worker. This man has no like sustainability.
But I also think like, okay, if you have a parent who's a business owner and is running a business on their own, they don't want you to have to work as hard as they work. So why not have somebody who already has the money and has it easy? That child didn't have to work if he didn't want to.
I don't know. Like my brain and my brain is also wired by anxiety sometimes when it comes to stuff like that. You got to almost like a get rich scheme type business. Jerry curls ain't gonna be around forever. Like
they didn't know that. They didn't know that.
I'm just saying.
It was 88, baby. The Jerry curl was gonna be here to stay. And to be real, it's on the way back. Anyway, it's not, what is it called now? It's a Gina curl right now.
But for me, I just feel like that anytime it's stuff like that it's like, oh, like I'm gonna come out with like this like type of jean or like this. I'm like it's a fad. It's a fad. And we're gonna make whatever.
And I feel like some people would say that about McDowell's or McDonald's. But I think like you're saying the same thing though, is that both of y'all are anxious, right? One is anxious about, okay, is there longevity in this money? If there's not, we need to secure ourselves to other things, which is like love, fulfillment, and also
I just
finding
need
other
to
ways to
know.
have money.
Yeah, I just need
right?
to know that you know how to make money other way, because there's some other type that his family went bankrupt. He gonna be in the corner crying.
No, probably, but she could do it. She could make it happen.
Yeah.
But he was trying to set her up. But I feel like he was anxious about, like, we just want you to be settled. If you're settled, then I don't have to worry about you.
100%.
I get, especially like it's very gendered too. If I get you married off, you're not my responsibility in that way anymore monetarily, and you'll be taken care of, and that helps me stress less.
And I think that it also seems like that he potentially knew the differences in between his daughters. He was just being honest.
Speak about that then.
That he was identifying, like working on getting Lisa out of the house and getting her secured. But I think that there may have been a part of him that knew that Patrice was going to be more work. She probably would have married somebody rich really easily, but it would have been a matter of like finding her somebody rich that would have taken her.
And we're moving on. We'll talk about Patrice
was
later.
a lot.
Patrice was trifling. I don't care what you're saying.
Patrice was hot. What the old folks say, hot in the draws. Patrice was hot in the draws.
Did they say hot in the draws?
Yeah.
They say hot in something else. Okay. That ain't what they said around me. They said it's hot somewhere else. But anyway, Dexter said you was getting pneumonia in your booty. Why? Why did they say that?
Who said that?
You never heard that?
No.
You never heard an old person say if you go out in the cold, in the rain, and you ain't got like no jacket on, or you just washed your hair, oh my gosh, and so you can get pneumonia in the ass. You never heard that?
I've never like thought about it in just like a general of like in the movie. Never thought about it.
Can somebody help me? Comment. You've heard old people say these crazy things, and it's the same thing. We're gonna learn from Patrice. Okay.
I am crying. Let's not learn from Patrice. Patrice was special.
We are gonna learn from Patrice.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
not gonna do that. We're not gonna hop around. Anyway, questions that need answers. We're not even there right now. Okay.
Okay, so like we were saying though, that when we put the expectations on the kid, he put the lotion on the skin. When you put the expectations on the kid, it takes away from the kid actually being seen, heard, actually being able to be an individual.
Away from attachment. Yes.
And you're not actually being able to be an individual because I'm telling you to choose this path instead of allowing you. And I do think that there, like we said, there's a lot of fear in that because
100%.
Your kid can, choose to go some ways that are. I'm like, I have a lot of talks with a lot of parents that I have as clients, or even like the kids of like, you do know why this is scary for your parent. You do know why you saying that you're dropping out of school and going to play a banjo on the corner is scary for them.
Not
like
a banjo.
I'm just saying, I don't know.
Okay, banjo. Keep going.
That's fine.
No, but seriously, folks out here want to be rappers, they want to be football players, and like that. The issue is sometimes it doesn't have longevity, or the statistics are very, very low of you being successful. So yes, your parents gonna be scary.
Or if it's like it isn't even a career, it's like I just want to go to California and find myself. Ooh, okay, that's scary.
No, but listen, then we're gonna have to talk about it because people give the Smiths, Jaden and Willow, they gave them so much crap. First of all, I don't know why they give them so much crap because they did not raise themselves, okay? Their parents raised them. But a lot of people feel like Black people don't have the flexibility to go do stuff like that. They can't go find themselves. They can't take a year off and go to Europe.
To me, though, that's the hard part.
It can't even be weird.
Because I feel like that is something that we have as a Black culture, that this is what Black parenting is supposed to look like. So when you see other Black parents not whipping their kids, or you see other Black parents,
gentle parents,
yes, like being gentle, like being conscious of their parents and allowing their kids to have more free reign, something's wrong with them. They're one of those weird parents. Y'all ain't got no like boundaries and stuff like that. And it's like, maybe there's not anything wrong with them. Maybe they are literally allowing their kids to explore themselves. Now, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that I've never seen things that those two kids have did and been like, okay.
Yeah, it's not really about them. Though.
Yes, yeah. But it's the idea that I do think that it's beautiful that you have parents that was just like, so this makes you feel uncomfortable? And I understand because I remember like Will saying at one point, whole another tangent, but Will saying at one point that Jaden was like, I don't want to be an actor no more. And he was like, dude, we just signed contracts. Right. Like you got deals.
It's
like,
too late, baby. What are you talking about?
But he was crying and he was like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, I have to let him step back. And I get that. There is a part of me that would be like, nope, you signed up. nope, we making money, like all these things. But if my child is like, this ain't what I want, I really want to force something else, do you step back and be like, all right, like, let me, like, let them figure out their life and figure out what they want to do?
Right. But I think that Black families, especially in the past, have not had the luxury to do that. You need your kids to turn out well, safe, be able to support
There's
themselves.
security
So
in that.
there's not a lot of flexibility there. Yeah, you can do that little art thing, you can do that little
On the
rap
side.
thing. Yeah, you can do hobbies all you want, but what we're gonna do is make sure we do something that makes money. This is why the immigrant parents, they want their kids to be engineers, they want them to be doctors, they want them to be all of these things because there's security in that.
Yeah.
Because of their own anxieties, because their own experiences. I get that.
And I can admit too, even for myself, of like own personal anxieties because of the anxieties and pressures that are put on from generations and parents of like me, like judging other people for those same decisions. Like I remember like being in high school and like I think it was a valedictorian, like went like backpacking for like a year or two after school. And I was like, what is she doing? Because that's just like not the norm. I remember having one of my best friends, one of the smartest guys that I knew, like had like full ride scholarships. And he called me one day freshman year and was like, I don't do this anymore. I want to be a rapper. And I was just like, what? Like, you're in school for free right now. And he was like, yeah, but I don't want to do this anymore. I really think that I can make it. And I was just like, and I was pissed.
But I also feel like that's also like our upbringing too, because I would be too scared to tell my parents who I know saved money when it was difficult. Mama had 2-3 jobs for me to go to college, and then for me to be like, nah, I'm good.
I want to be a dancer.
Ain't no way that was gonna come out of my mouth. But I'm also like the oldest child, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, even if your parents never said that, they feel that pressure of like, I'm looking at how hard they have to work. I'm looking for all they sacrificed to get me here. And then we get there and we're like, I can't do what I want to do. Actually, I can't. Like, I want to, but I can't because there's too much risk involved. I can disappoint these people or not pay them back for all they've done, like whether that's logical or not, whatever. But there's like internal pressure. It's not always external, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the thing that goes into like what.
It's a lot here.
Yeah,
I feel it in my chest. I'm like,
definitely felt it in my chest. Like how heavy
this gets so emotional. Yeah,
and like how that prevents and blocks people from being able to explore themselves, be themselves, and just like figure out life without these expectations. But there's like so much risk in that. There's so much risk in the choice. There's so much risk in the potential abandonment of what this looks like. And we see this, bringing it back to the movie, but we see this in the movie that Akeem does that when he goes to New York. He does break away, but like he does it in like like his parents didn't actually know what he was doing. They thought like, they didn't listen, like Jasmine said. So therefore, like he was going to sort his worlds. He was going to go have fun. He can come back in 40 days and the wedding work like reconvene.
No, it wasn't an option though. It was like, we're still having the wedding in this amount of time. So do what you got to do, but be back here by this date.
Yeah, but Akeem knew. He went against the grain completely to the fact that he knew he was going to make his dad mad. You literally went completely against this person who had everybody take care of him. You moved to Queens. You go to the worst. I mean, Queens is just Queens, but like he went like a terrible building.
Didn't know. He said, "Where can we find a queen for the king?"
I know, but he also said, "Take me to the most common part." Like, he wanted to go to like.
Yeah, that did bother me a little bit. He was like, "Is this poor?" And I was like, "Can we stop? Can we stop? Is your apartment poor?"
It was so terrible. When that man said that there was one bathroom for the entire floor, I was like, "Okay, yeah, too much." How come we can't do this like in like a regular neighborhood? I don't know. That's just me. I couldn't handle it. But so he moves there. He goes on the quest to find a queen. So he knows that you're finding a queen in America. You're going to make your parents mad. He knows it. Like he knew that this was going to blow up. Maybe, but he was just hoping that he would have found what he wanted and that it would have been okay in the end. And I mean, he even said that he was like willing to let it all go. He was willing to not be like not deal with it.
Right. And I feel like that happens when you get to a certain point with your family, when you're telling them, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what's important to me for like my growth and development, and they don't listen to you for the like 1,000th time. At some point, you're going to be like, forget it. I don't care. I'm going to do my own thing. It's going to look like this. I don't care what the consequences would be.
Yeah.
Many times people's like, I don't need to be a queen. You want me to drop it? I'll drop it. Let me put it down because I don't care.
Which I think is like a hard thing that we see for a lot of other people when they're like, oh, well, I'm scared that my parents are saying that they're going to cut me off. I'm not going to be like, like, I'm not going to have money anymore. I won't have family. Where am I going on Christmas? Like all these things, like, I don't want to do that. So therefore I'm just going to stay and I'll do whatever you guys like. And he was like, I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah. And I get why people do that. Like, I get why people do, like we were talking about before, it goes through the safe path.
Understood. I get it.
Because there's so many consequences to not doing it. Like, you not having connection and access to your family is a huge consequence, right? Yeah. Like, and a lot of people, it's not worth it. Yeah. You love these people. They love you. They want good for you. It may look harsh, but they do.
Yeah. And I think that, like, he saw that even though he was prepared for it to happen, he was not prepared for when it happened. Like, he thought that he had, like, more control over the situation. I still blame his bestie because if Simi hadn't messed this up and went and asked for $1 million, like that, then like they would never came looking for him.
That's how you know how naive they are. He was like, "But what about half a million? What's the problem?"
And she was like, "Nah, go ahead and ask for $1 million." He's like, "All right, so I'm asking for $1 million American dollars to send this to me because we're in dire straits." Now, if my son had told me that he lost $1 million in 40 days, I think that I'd be alerted too of like,
I need to come. Been 40 days. Yeah, that's the problem, right?
So Akeem thought that he still had time. And then I know where he brings Lisa back to the house and he sees rose petals and he's like, "Oh man, it done blew up. Daddy here. My daddy's here."
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
Go back to the place. Go. We'll fix this later, but Daddy is here.
And then bloop bloop bloop. It all kind of rolls down.
It all falls down.
Okay, we have a comment. Can I look at that? It's pressure on parents to produce and raise the best child. Say that because I do think parents have a lot of pressure on that in comparison to their friends and other family members.
That is well.
Woo!
That is well. I was literally talking to a mom the other day. Say a word.
Who said that? Speaking with gravity.
I was talking to a mom the other day, and I like me and her were working through that. What's that hard feeling of when she's allowing her child to do something, and other parents are like, "That's weird. All of our kids are sitting in their chair minding their business, and your little girl is over there with her hands flipped up, like playing on the floor, and she's and you're like, yep, that's my kid." Or all of our kids we're getting them off to go into college and backing them up for college, and your child's like, I want to go play for a little while. Oh, that's my kid. That's my kid. I'm not gonna lie, like that to me like makes me feel uncomfortable. That like as a parent, I probably would be that parent that's like,
No, but I feel this is why it is very hard to be a parent because you have to deal with not only your own stuff, you also have to look back at your ancestry and your current family because everybody's going to have an opinion about how you do that and what that looks like. There are even sometimes with me when I don't have any children, okay, but it don't matter. Even when I'm parenting the dog, okay, when I can hear a voice in my head being like, well, why would you let a child do that? Or like, why? Like, the old black, my grandparents or whatever.
Or sometimes it is actually the parent's voice of like, so
literally
your son over there on the floor, like he need his tail whooped. Like you ain't finna handle that.
Oh, absolutely.
Or like the parents would be like, I ain't finna watch him. He bad. He don't listen.
Right.
Don't wear pants. He ain't coming. He come to my house.
Well, so they don't mind and they don't look the way that kids used to look back in the day, which is seen, not heard, and obedient.
He ain't gonna come to church with me and embarrass me. So now my child has lost babysitters because Mama said she ain't watching him because he can't go to church with her because he don't know how to sit still.
Very much so. Or Auntie is talking about how your kids is doing and how they're raising. Now, this person can't even have a relationship with Auntie because every time Auntie come around, all she do is talk about how your kid is bad and all this stuff. Even though you're gentle parenting and you're trying to do something different than the way you were done, and you get all this negativity towards you, like that's a lot of reason not to change.
Or to feel like that you're possibly doing something wrong.
Yeah, or just to be ostracized from your family again.
Because I mean, to me, there's also like that pressure too. As a parent, you're a new parent. Sometimes you don't always know. So like, if I'm trying something, like support me, but people are like, don't do that. I didn't raise kids before. Feed them this. Put them do this too. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah. Or some people do know. They have a vision for what they want their parenting to be because they want it to be the opposite of something they experienced on purpose, right? Like maybe you didn't like getting spanked when you were a child. You were like, we're just not doing that over here. There was not enough talking. There was not enough
100%.
this, and they wanted to look
100%.
different, and people don't get that.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I know you relate. I'm just there's a lot to it, and it's more than just one little layer of like parents are anxious. It's also like the way that we were raised and the way that our family thinks that Black parents should be and allow our children to be in public, which is a whole nother thing. Did you remember that during the protests when that mama yanked that boy up during George Floyd? Like it was the whole thing. It was this Black teenager guy, and he was doing something, I think, technically illegal. Like he was, I don't know that he was rioting, but like a part of the protest, and he did something, and like somebody caught on video that mom like yanked him up and like basically like fought him a little bit and tried to get him together, and everybody was applauding that, which I'm not even saying good or bad, but I think that like we as Black people are used to that kind of treatment, and we can justify it because of the things that we've been through. Of just like, I don't want you to die, so I'm gonna beat you up here.
But I think
so
that
you
also
don't do
there
it.
is also a level of knowing. So I was raised by a military father, and had been in the military for like 20 plus years. And then also like, my mom following down between that, like behind that line. And like, my grandparents, we were definitely like, I had to like hold the belt loop anywhere we went. Like if you hold my belt loop, like I'm stuck to your side, don't move. But there was also the positive regard. Even though I didn't always understand it or I didn't always like it, I knew that wherever we went, everybody always said, your kids are so well mannered. Y'all have the best kids, always around, like, my so grandparents polite. And stuff like that. Like the best, like y'all are like, so like, manners and like, so sweet. And I'm just like, I mean, there was a positive regard in that.
Respectful.
Like even like me to this day, I remember getting popped if I didn't answer yes ma'am or yes sir to somebody. Like that was like literally an offense to get popped in the mouth. So like to this day, I still answer yes ma'am and yes sir to people. I mean, sometimes out of fear, but but in my mind, it's still like people are like, oh, like you're like respectful, and I'm like,
am I?
Am I traumatized? I mean, maybe, but I'm still like, mommy, daddy did it. Like, right. I mean, this is how I was raised. I don't know.
Right, and that's a very Southern thing. Neither here nor there. I didn't grow up that way, but I definitely. We were not allowed to, and not even that we would, because also when you talk about child development and how kids just act the way they do because they're children, but like going out in public and doing something wrong, maybe I always got the pinch on the side right here.
Mine was under the armpit.
No matter. First of all, if it got real bad, they just grab them for anything they can grab. But usually it's the pinch and it's real firm, and that stopped me from doing anything. But that also like affects people of like the way that I behave in public. I'm gonna get either towed up in a car, yelled at, consequences, whatever, or literally somebody's gonna snatch me up in public because of the way that I am perceived in public. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to put on. But that's a lot to put on Black children. And it's not even just about embarrassment, too. Like, we know why this happens. Go ahead, just everything goes back to slavery. Put a little thing, go roll across the thing, because we have to behave in certain ways in public, or people will not be here. They will die.
Yeah.
So like it's heavier than that, but also if we can release that, let's try.
Yeah,
because it's not good for us.
Which is hard because because like there is an element that has not changed.
Yes, definitely. So, but it is different than it was even when our parents were around. And so if you can allow yourself to feel better about that and let your child explore, because again, if you want, I say this over and over, if you want an independent child, one that can handle what's going on with them, support themselves, all those things, they need good attachment. And they cannot have good attachment if you're not listening to them, or if you're making them or traumatizing them or making them do something that is not good for their soul. I'm not saying like no consequences or like make your kid eat your vegetables, like whatever. But if they're telling you something they need to be okay and happy and you're not ever listening to that, that's going to impact attachment. And they're not going to get to be independent.
100%.
You're welcome. That's my monologue.
I love it.
So help us out. Do we have any tips? How do people deal with this? Because I feel like it's common for everybody.
I think that you already touched on, though. One of the biggest things to do with it is listen. It's actually having open conversations. Active listening to me is like actually having open conversations, actually actively listening to the other person and being able to listen without making it about you. Which I thought that's just that right there is the hard part. That your kid will say, "Well, I want to do this. Well, I'm a bad parent."
Yeah.
Well, clearly I didn't do enough for you, so clearly you're not grateful for what I did to you. I just asked
After
you
everything I done, you gonna thank me, you gonna whatever all by doing this. But also, it's not about you, because our parents forget that they had to go do their own thing at one point, and they had to possibly disappoint someone to fulfill themselves.
Yeah.
And like that don't always register.
And I do love that in this movie you saw that where King Joffrey was even like, still being upset. He was irritated when he found out what Hakeem had been doing and like what was going on. The wife stepped up, and you can tell that like she's not always like stepping up, but she was like, "Hey,
what's her name?
Put sucking it, Aoli. Put sucking it. The boys in love. Like, shut up. Our son's happy."
Which is the thing that they wanted.
Yeah,
that's what they kept saying. I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. And
but
then
like
he
maybe he needed someone to like shake him and challenge him, and he was like, "It's tradition," and she was like, "But you're the king. Change it."
And also, have you always liked tradition?
Yeah.
Like, to put yourself in their shoes of just like, have you always liked all of the demands you've had or not?
Which I think it's like sometimes like we need those talks of like what can be shifted, what can't be shifted, what is the underlying factors to our motivations, to our fears, to our anxieties, and like how much of that is okay. Like, can you like let some of that go so that your child can be them?
You gotta do your own work. Yeah, ain't no way to do this well and not do your own work as a parent. But what about the kids? What if the parents just aren't going to change? This is their expectation. They're holding firm. They don't care. Then what? How do they deal?
That one's a hard one, because I think that's the hard part of if you're willing to take the risk, and that's scary. That's hurtful.
No, it is really, really hard. And people have done it and they've overcome it. I think my biggest tip for that is find your support people, right? Like, even if it's not family, you might have an auntie that supports you. You might have an uncle. You might have like distant family. You might have friends
that in the end of the
who, who can hold this with you. Just like, my parents don't understand, but this is what I'm working on. That way, if there are consequences, if there are difficulties of you choosing your own path, you still have support.
Yeah.
Because to be real, some families cut people off for stuff like this. Some families want you to only do what they want you to do. And if you don't, that's it.
Yeah.
You're not having any more. Yes, they're not having contact. You don't have access to money. You don't have access to all this stuff. So if you can get your own support people to bolster you, I'm not saying, and I'm not ever saying, cut your family off. Don't talk to them ever again. If you need to, you know who you are, right? Like, that's different. If you have to go no contact with your family, that's nobody's decision but your own. But if you have an additional support system, that will help you at least not feel so alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you ready for questions that need answers?
We got a lot of questions that need answers, y'all. And
let me see.
I just love this movie. I just love it. So no, we got a lot to say.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions that need answers.
Okay. Go ahead, you can start.
Did anybody else ever listen to the actual lyrics of "She's Your Queen to Be"? Because when that man said she's completely free of infection to be used at your discretion, I mean, I guess it was true of what they were doing, but okay.
What were they doing?
I mean, they was getting him the perfect wife. I mean, she was completely free from infection to be used at his discretion. And I mean, I also had the question, though, another question: what happened to her? I mean, I guess that probably did happen in coming to America, but like, what happened to her when he didn't marry her? I just spent my whole life being like, yeah, I'd have been groomed for you.
Parents were promised,
and then you told me that
probably already paid the dowry or whatever, and here we are.
Best of luck. So now I gotta go find somebody else.
But I've been groomed for you.
I'm gonna fight you. But go ahead.
And shame to her parents too, because now what's she gonna do? Now your daughter unhappy anyway. Is it not weird having people watch you sleep? You think they was watching him sleep the whole time, or just when it was about to get up and they were just?
I would think that they probably actually were watching him sleep, because I could believe them. Like, what if he had a nightmare? Hold on, the prince is awake. Prince, what do you need?
Leave me alone. What is that? That's too much. You in my face. My other question was, why was everybody barefoot?
Oh, like the rose bears and stuff like that.
Nobody had shoes on.
No, remember,
they don't wear shoes in Africa?
That was a question I had. They brought out Prince Hakeem 4 boots to choose from, but they were all the same boot.
And everybody else was barefoot. Only the king could get shoes?
The armed guards had boots on. I don't know.
Anyway,
Damn,
I
know.
got questions. Just, this is also the problem here. The way that we portray Africa and Africa countries, real or fictional, is why people think. That's why Tiffany Haddish, whatever she said the other day, talking about Africa, is like, wow, they got electricity out here. This is why we feel how we feel. And that's not our fault all the time.
Because that man had pet elephants walking around.
By name. Hey, Chauncey, what?
Not Chauncey.
I don't know what he said, but it was too late.
Okay. So it killed me that he said New York or Los Angeles, as if Los Angeles was its own state. That was just it.
But I feel like
those were his two options to go find a queen. We're going to New York or Los Angeles.
Well, where they gonna go?
I'm just saying.
But you know how
it wasn't like a California. We're going to New York or Los Angeles.
But again, people who are not from the United States, they think that all we have here is LA, Dallas.
The
New
man
York,
had a globe.
Philly.
You saw that there was something in the middle of this.
We should
get West Farm and water.
No, I get it, but how many cities in Africa can you name? Again, people don't
but
know.
Still, for me, it was still just the idea of so it wasn't in California.
Well, you think he was gonna be like, let's go to Cabot, Arkansas, and find the queen?
I'm just saying, I'm saying, why wasn't there more to California? It was just LA.
Some people don't even know that California is a state. Maybe they think LA is a state.
Okay, well, that's clearly what happened.
And also, some Americans don't know that California is a state. Let's move on. Were we supposed to think that Eddie Murphy was 21? We were supposed to believe that? Did he look 21 to you? Okay.
Next question.
But he kind of had that face. My question is, why did he have that horse hair braided to the back of his thing? It
was a tail.
But how come it didn't look textured like the rest of his hair? It literally
could match. Girl, this wasn't like present day when we had a multiple different types of yaki.
They could have figured that out. They could have figured that out. I said, why I got this silky pressed hair in the back of him, and he got a fro? Why?
He said it's just berries and juices.
And that's why. Anyway, let's continue on.
Did anybody know this Cuba Gooding Jr. was the dude who was sitting in the chair at the barbershop?
Definitely.
He had no lines. He just sat there and nodded his head. I said, that was a young Cuba Gooding Jr.
I looked it up. It was his first or second role ever. So I was like, oh, he wasn't Cuba, but at that point, he was just.
But it's funny, see that now, but oh, Cuba.
I was looking for that too. If there were any other people who weren't famous yet.
Samuel Jackson.
Was he not? I thought he did other stuff before that.
I don't know. Let's say Samuel came in the game cussing.
My question: we're going to talk about Arsenio /Simi. Was he a snack back in the day?
I've never thought that he was a snack.
That's not what I asked. This is why I asked the question the way I asked, because I already knew what you was going to say. Was Arsenio Hall a snack back in the day?
I have
never. I'm not talking about you.
No, not to me, woman. I have never seen anyone place him in that category. I've never heard anybody talk about him the way they did Eddie or Denzel and things like Wesley. He was never in that.
People talk about Eddie like that?
Yeah, girl.
Oh, okay, good for them.
But yeah, Eddie, me, Denzel,
you saying Eddie and Denzel that's the same.
Wesley,
those are parallel things. Those are not parallel things.
Listen, I'm on the fence about that one, but go ahead.
What Denzel?
Go ahead, continue.
Anyway, somebody else get in the comments. I need to hear this. Arsenio wore eyeliner, did he not? Is it just me?
No, that man had eyeliner.
He had to have on eyeliner. It's just so strange because nobody else had on eyeliner. But
we
won't have eyeliner on, but everybody.
But I feel that if you ever watch clips of his show, I think that he wore eyeliner in general. I don't know that.
Set it off. That's beautiful. But it didn't seem appropriate for what we were doing right now. Question: the Black Awareness Pageant. What were we trying to be aware of? What were we promoting awareness for?
Women's booties, because that man called God the Hugh Hefner on high. The Hugh Hefner on high. That's what we refer to the Lord as. He helped Gillian get off the island.
So did we just do that scene so we could hear Eddie Murphy sing? Was that the only reason? I didn't understand why that was even happening.
Children of future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way. They were raising money.
I know it smelled crazy.
Black Awareness Week.
It smelled crazy in there. It smelled like Jerry Curl. Because it smelled like Jerry Curl juice. Half the people had Jerry Curls. It was just wet and smelly.
And I didn't where the food came from because the dude who was sitting there eating the he was the only person who had food. He had this plate of chicken that he was eating.
No, I don't remember that.
And then because when they passed around the offering bucket, he put his chicken out the offering bucket. He was like, I thought it was trash. sorry.
We're doing too much. Go ahead.
I mean, I know that she probably like wasn't paying attention, but Daryl was sitting in the front row and she was looking at him. She ain't see that man pass the offering basket and he ain't put no money in there.
He probably doesn't carry money.
But then she asked him later on if he was the one who put all the money in the basket.
And what he said?
He was like, anything for the kids.
I love the kids. Okay, creep. Truly, what was the budget for this movie? Because I feel like it was a lot. They had sets and scenes, even the pageant
thing. This was
thing.
like an early movie for Eddie Murphy, so I'm not even sure if it was like a big budget.
It had to be. So
I really want to know. I want to know where they did this at, because it probably was like a set somewhere in like LA.
Multiple sets though. They were a lot of different places. It didn't just take place in one. We was in Africa. We was in Queens.
They was not in Africa.
I know that, but anyway, I was like, it's huge sets, and some of the stuff wasn't even like, you can tell how sometimes when you're shooting something, you're like, oh, there's only a few people there. They're trying to make it look like a lot. Some of those shots were like a ton of people. And then they had one at the game, which I'm sure that's not, it wasn't live, but whatever.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't, they used footage from a game to do that. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Did you notice Radio Shack was in the background and stuff? And I was like, oh, RIP Radio Shack.
I did not.
Mm-hmm. It was cute.
I did not.
It was the only like background company that I noticed.
I did not pay attention to that. I personally feel like, and y'all can tell me this if you guys felt the same way, did Eddie Murphy use the same voice for Akeem that he used for Vampire in Brooklyn? Because to me, they sound the same.
For Akeem?
Akeem.
Okay.
And the Vampire in Brooklyn, they sound the same.
What do you mean the same voice? It's his voice.
But his African voice and his vampire voice are the same. Yes.
Okay.
The African accent and the vampire accent are the same accent.
Maybe that's all he can do. That's the range. He can only be a Jewish man or an African prince. I don't know. A Jewish white man. I don't know. I don't have anything. Let's talk about Patrice. A handy on a first date at a basketball game is crazy work. Okay? It's a lot for a person you just met. And you're sitting right next to a lot of people. There's no privacy anywhere. And you didn't even ask.
That part. You don't even know me. You don't even know if
you didn't say, let's
go
to the bathroom. You
don't even know if I'm down. You literally just like grab my coat and put my coat across me.
Take your coat off, Akeem. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys.
I will fight you. That is not consent. But okay.
Consent is the least of the worries. And also, she trifling. This was your sister was dating this one guy. And then as soon as you think he's a prince, you switch over?
Not to mention,
that's not sisterly.
Not to mention, because we don't know how long Daryl and Lisa have been together. And then at the end of the movie, she tries to get Daryl. Come on, and it's wet outside. God dog it, Patrice.
What's going on with you? There's men everywhere. You got a hug.
Do you need a hug?
Your daddy right there. What's going on?
Right? Something was not right with Patrice. I don't care what y'all say.
People, we need to take therapy. Patrice, come on, baby, because what is going on here?
I wondered though, like with all the stuff that they did for Akeem, like did they ever like teach him like some basic life skills, or like did he like learn on his own? Because when he said that he was gonna cook for Lisa, I'm like, when you learn to cook? Who taught you to cook? You can't even tie your own shoes, but who taught you to cook?
Questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like that's it. I like the little. It really makes me want to get a little hamburger phone. That
I did want to. I
was like, I need this phone. It's so cute, but I guess they don't make a hamburger iPhone.
You can get an iPhone case.
That just makes me sad now, because back in the day, you used to flex on people with different kinds of phones all the time. Like,
I used to love the little like clear phones that came in like all the different colors.
But now, like, we all got the same phone. Like, maybe I need to get the plug-in
cases. Yeah, the plug-in.
The plug-in. That's what I need to do.
I got one of those the other day from a Pop Shelf.
What did it look like? It's not a hamburger.
No, it's like a little purple retro looking phone.
Oh, but, okay. That's really all. That's all my questions. It's. I loved it.
I did. I loved it. So yeah, guys, if you have any other questions or need answers, please let us know. And then also, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on this train to be mentally dope. Also follow us on socials, as we're gonna continue to post about this and about this movie in general. So
and let us know if Coming to America 2 is worth doing or not. I mean, it's probably just like an extension of the first one. I think Charmaine has seen it. I haven't seen it, but like, is it worth us even talking about, or should we just
Maybe
watch
talk
it in
about like
general?
the changes that were made that like that Akeem learned and then buck the cycles for.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if nothing else, y'all, stay mentally up. Take care of yourself. I feel like doing the Harlem Shake.
Why?